Persia here, and Season 11 of Apex Legends is literally packed full of new content. It's got a new map, a new legend, changes to the weapons and legends that we already use, and so much more. So go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and let's go over everything that's headed our way. Storm Point takes us to planet Gaia, which contains deadly creatures and is also the home to Caustic and Crypto. This map is the fourth and largest Battle Royale map coming to Apex Legends, and is also the first map to be developed after the release of the game. Since Storm Point is 15% larger than World's Edge and doesn't have any balloons to travel from, gravity cannons add that extra boost of movement to the outer areas of the map and near the beach side. When using the gravity cannons, you'll be able to use any of your weapons or abilities, which could make for great plays or great escapes. There's also going to be tridents in play as well. And when I said 15% larger, that's 15% more playable space, not just overall size. However, the northern half of the map increases in elevations that even Valkyrie can't fly over, which means you'll have to make more calculated rotations when rings start to pull that way. Each individual POI almost feels like their own unique map at times, with different design styles and elevation variety continuing to be a theme within each town. There's also a lot more open space directly underneath buildings that will make those areas easier to play when the inside or the roof of the building is occupied and you're in a pinch in those final rings. Storm Point also features natural wildlife that adds a slight PvE element to the map. Prowler and spider nests can be found in multiple areas that will be marked on your minimap, so you can choose to land there for some extra goods or just avoid them altogether. Inflicting damage on these creatures will not only grant you a very small percentage of points towards your Evo shield, but will also grant you smart loot. Smart loot is loot that drops from the wildlife that will be tailored to the gun that you killed it with, whether it be a scope, an ammo type, or other attachments. The wildlife definitely looks terrifying in the trailers, but they don't do too much damage. I think you could really only go down to them if you happen to go AFK or something, so don't worry about that. But if you do engage in fights immediately around a prowler nest, you do increase the chances of getting third-partied by a prowler, which isn't really the best of things, but definitely possible, so be careful. The newest legend joining the Apex games is Ashe, who some fans may remember from Titanfall 2. We learned through various comics and cinematics that Ashe also has close ties to Horizon, Pathfinder, and probably more that we'll learn about in the future. Ashe is designed with her Ronin Titan in mind, and it's interesting to see how they've incorporated her background into her kit, similarly to how they did with Valk. Let's start with Ashe's passive, marked for death. This passive makes a deathbox icon show up on your minimap and full screen map whenever a player dies. If you choose to go to that location, you can use Ashe's pilot knife to scan the deathbox and reveal the location of the deathbox's killer. There is a cooldown on scanning the deathboxes, so you would have to get to the boxes within a certain time frame to scan for more targets. If you are scanned, you'll get a notification on your screen, which may indicate that Ashe and her team might be on the way to get you. Ashe can only scan a box one time, but if you wipes an entire squad, she could potentially scan you 3 times. Ashe provides an interesting amount of intel that will help you keep tabs on your enemies, but will require a little bit more of an aggressive approach to get it. The Arc Tether is Ashe's tactical, and this thing is definitely gonna throw a wrench in the game plan of movement-based legends. The Arc Tether has a 24-second cooldown and is a projectile that shocks an enemy and will tether them to the ground. It moves at a fairly quick pace and in a straight direction, which means you can even throw it into the air if you want to hit an aerial target. The tether can only target one character at a time, but it goes quite a far distance, so if you scout out the faster legends of an enemy team, you could contain them and keep them in the fight. Just keep in mind that the tether will only slow down the enemy if they try to run outside of the Arc's range, so be prepared for a fight. Ashe's ultimate is called the Phase Breach, and this produces a portal based on Ashe's line of sight, but what differentiates it from a portal like Wraith is that the Phase Breach can only go one way, and Ashe will always go through the portal once it's placed. It can be really clutch for diving in or out of fights quickly and repositioning the whole team in a snap. The speed of the ultimate puts an emphasis on using it at the most optimal moments possible, and that is why I can see Ashe being a great legend for the person on your squad who calls all the plays.
Here, come over here.
Season 11 also comes with some changes to another legend, Wattson. Wattson has actually received a number of tweaks that might lead to a higher pick rate in the coming months. First off, you'll be able to use her fences faster and more frequently, as the cooldown has been cut in half and the placement range has been increased by 50%. Slowdowns when readying and placing fences have been completely removed, which pretty much means instant fences. Wattson's ultimate is getting some changes too. Instead of being on a timer, the trophy system now has a health pool, but you won't be able to place multiple Wattson ults down at once. The shield regeneration you get from standing next to her ult has more than doubled, so you'll be getting shields back much faster, making it even better to use in reaction to heated fights to stay alive. Okay, let's talk about the newest weapon, the C.A.R SMG. This weapon is one of the most versatile guns in the game, as you can use both light and heavy weapon attachments and ammo. You'll do the same amount of damage no matter which type you use, but being able to expand your options with both light and heavy items makes looting a lot easier, especially on drop. You will have to toggle between the two, so it's not like it loads automatically. Just keep that in mind. In my opinion, the C.A.R feels like it sits somewhere between the R99 and the R301 and feels great in those short to mid-range areas. The C.A.R may be the only new weapon coming into Season 11, but it's definitely not the only thing that's gonna shake up the meta for Season 11's arsenal. The supply drop rotation is changing. The triple take is returning to the floor as an energy marksman weapon, and the G7 Scout is taking its place, but it's coming back with a little bit of a damage boost and double tap. Early game crate weapon rates have increased from 25 to 50, mid game has increased from 50 to 75%, and late game has increased from 75 to 100%. But the devs did note that the Crabers are not really going to be a part of this increase of rate, and they're going to be kept in line, so don't worry about that. The L-Star is getting a much needed nerf. The barrel effectiveness will be reduced, the damage is being reduced from 18 to 17, and the size of the bullets will no longer expand over time. The longbow will also be receiving a 5 damage nerf, and the EVA 8 is getting a nerf to its fire rate. There's also going to be a new hop-up that will allow the Mastiff and the 30-30 to reload 2 bullets at a time instead of 1, so it's going to be a lot easier to clutch things out if you need a few extra shells. And the Peacekeeper is also getting some changes in its favor. The pellet size is being slightly increased, the choke time is reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1.25 seconds, and choked up shots remain tight for slightly longer when exiting ADS. Crafting is also getting a few changes. If you're gonna craft for ammo, you'll now get a full stack instead of just 20, but it is gonna cost a little bit more in materials. If you like to level up your Evo armor, it's now also gonna cost a little bit more, but you're gonna get 150 points instead of 100, which means you'll never leave an area without a blue shield if there's a crafter nearby. And if you like to drop hot, well, there's an increase in the amount of gold loot that is gonna spawn in the hot zones. The devs said hot zones can sometimes feel a bit lackluster, so we're injecting more high-tier loot into these dynamic zones to make them more enticing drop spots. And if you want some ranked details, well, we've got those too. There will be 2 season splits with Storm Point running from November 2nd to December 21st and World's Edge running from December 21st to February 8th. There will also be some changes to how ranking points are going to work too. Kill RP values will now take your rank into consideration. So if you kill someone who's a higher rank than you, you're going to get more points for it. For example, if a plat player kills a diamond player, that kill is going to count for 12 instead of 10. The kill RP cap is being raised from 6 to 7, however the kill related RP cap can be reached in different ways depending on tier differences and placement. So placement is still crucial and you still have to place first to have a chance at a max total RP. And for those of you worried about losing more points if you die to a lower ranked player, you don't have to worry at all. That's not taken into consideration and only the killer receives a modifier on their points. But the grind should definitely be more rewarding now. So many cool things are on the way for Season 11 of Apex Legends, and I honestly can't wait. November 2nd just cannot get here soon enough. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite thing about this update is going to be, and of course, leave that like and subscribe so you don't miss any future Apex news here on GameSpot. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.